The desert rescue. The sun burned the land. The air was dry and heat waves danced above the red sand. Nothing moved, until a small broken ship crashed into the dunes. Eli Ward, a human engineer, was driving his desert rover across the wastelands of planet Rithus. He had been sent to repair a weather tower, far from any town or colony. Most people feared the outer zones. Old wars had left scars, strange ruins, and worse. Stray alien fighters. Eli didn't care. He liked the silence. But today was different, as he drove past a black rock formation. His scanner beeped. He frowned and stopped. The signal was weak. Life form detected. His eyes scanned the horizon, and then he saw her. A figure crawling in the sand. Her silver skin shimmered in the sun. Her long dark hair stuck to her face and her robe was torn. She looked barely alive. An alien. Eli's heart jumped. He had heard stories. Aliens left behind after the war. Most humans avoided them. Some were dangerous. Some were hunted. Helping one could mean trouble. But she looked up at him. Her eyes were large and bright, full of pain, full of fear. But also, trust. Please, she whispered in broken English. Eli hesitated. The right choice was to report her, call security, leave her. But something in him said no. He jumped down and ran to her. "Don't move," he said. "I'm going to help you." She fainted before she could speak again. Eli brought her into his rover. He gave her water and wrapped her wounds. Her body was weak, burn marks on her arms, dust in her lungs. Someone had tried to kill her. As the rover moved across the sand, she slowly opened her eyes. "Thank you," she said. "What's your name?" Eli asked. "Saralyn," she whispered. "I'm Eli." She looked at him for a long moment, then closed her eyes again. Hours later, they reached an abandoned outpost. Eli had used it before for repairs. It was quiet and empty. He laid her on a cot and started working on her wounds. She didn't speak much, but she watched him carefully. "Why were you out there alone?" he asked. She said nothing. He didn't push. That night, as the desert wind howled, Eli sat near her and ate from a ration pack. She hadn't touched her food. Her eyes were distant. "You're not safe, are you?" Eli said. She looked up. "No." "Someone's after you?" She nodded slowly. "Do you want me to contact someone? Get help?" "No. They will find me if you do." Eli sighed. "Then what do you want?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said softly, "You already did it. You didn't leave me." When morning came, Eli woke to find the bed empty. Saralyn was gone. His heart sank. He ran outside. No sign of her. The only thing left behind was a small, glowing pendant. He picked it up. It felt warm in his hand. Strange symbols moved across its surface. "What is this?" he whispered. The pendant pulsed once, then went dark. He never saw her again. People said it was better that way. She was an alien. Not his problem. But Eli couldn't forget her face, her voice, her eyes. That moment in the desert had changed something in him, and deep inside he knew this wasn't the end of her story. It was just the beginning. The vanishing 5 years passed. Eli Ward never spoke of the alien woman again. He kept the glowing pendant hidden in a drawer under his bed, wrapped in cloth. He had scanned it 100 times. Nothing showed. Just a strange energy signature and symbols he couldn't read. But he couldn't forget her. Her name, Saralyn, echoed in his mind on quiet nights. He had no idea what happened after she disappeared. No footprints, no message, just gone. After the rescue, Eli left the repair team and moved to a quiet farming colony on the edge of human space. Planet Ura 9. Green hills, soft rain, small skies. It was peaceful and boring, but Eli liked boring. He thought his story with Saralyn was over. He was wrong. It started on a Tuesday. Eli was fixing the solar pump at the edge of his wheat field. The sky was gray, and wind swept over the tall grass. Birds chirped in the distance. Everything was calm, until his AI drone buzzed overhead with a strange alert. Unknown crash detected. 1.2 kilometers west, the drone said in its flat voice. What kind of crash? Eli asked. Small vessel. No ID. No response. Eli's stomach tightened. He got on his rover and drove toward the signal. When he arrived, he saw smoke rising from the trees. A small silver escape pod had crashed into the dirt. Part of it was cracked open. Heat still shimmered off the hull. He approached slowly. Hello? He called out. No answer. Then he heard a soft sound. A child. Crying. He rushed to the pod. Inside, barely moving, was a little alien girl, no older than 5. Silver skin, dark hair, large glowing eyes full of tears. Dust covered her face. She clutched something tight in her tiny hands. Eli's breath caught in his throat. It was the pendant. His pendant. Sarah Lynn's pendant. The girl looked up at him. She didn't scream. She didn't run. Instead, she said in a quiet, unsure voice, Are you Eli? He blinked. Yes. She held up the pendant. My mother said, if anything happened, find Eli. Your mother? Wait. Your mother is Sarah Lynn, she said. The world spun for a moment. He didn't understand. What's your name? He asked. Nyari, she replied. He stared at her. His mind screamed with questions. How could this child know him? How did she have the pendant? What happened to Sarah Lynn? But one thing was clear. This girl was Sarah Lynn's child, and somehow, she was his. Eli brought her home. She didn't cry much after that, just sat quietly and held the pendant like it was the most important thing in the universe. He gave her food. She ate slowly, politely. She looked at him like she knew him but was afraid to speak too much. What happened to your ship? Eli asked. I don't know, Mama said. If anything went wrong, press the red button. Then the pod flew away. And where is she now? I don't know, Nyari whispered. She said she'd come later, after she finished the mission. What mission? She didn't say. Eli sat back in his chair, running a hand through his hair. This was no accident. Sarah Lynn had planned this, prepared for it, and trusted him enough to send her daughter to him if something went wrong. Why? That night, while Nyari slept, Eli stared at the pendant on the table. He touched it. It pulsed once. Then, a voice played. Soft, familiar. Eli, Sarah Lynn's voice whispered. If you're hearing this, I'm in danger. They found me. I can't let them take Nyari. She's not just my daughter, she's also yours. Eli froze. I didn't tell you the truth before. I was part of something bigger. A resistance. Nyari carries something inside. Her something they want, something powerful, too powerful. She must be protected, and you're the only one I trust. The message ended. Silence filled the room. His daughter. He had a daughter, and she was being hunted. Outside, a strange ship hovered in the clouds. Black and silent, a red scanner light swept across the wheat fields. They had come for the girl, and Eli would have to decide, run or fight. Years in silence, night fell quietly on the farm, but Eli Ward didn't sleep. He sat near Nyari, watching her breathe softly as she slept on the couch. The pendant, still glowing faintly, rested under her small hand. His thoughts raced. He had saved Sarah Lynn once, a moment of kindness. And now, years later, the result of that moment, his daughter, lay in his home. But outside in the dark sky, something watched them. Hours earlier, a black ship had passed silently overhead. No lights, no markings, not human. Eli's drone had caught only a glimpse before it disappeared into the clouds. Eli wasn't a soldier. He wasn't trained for this. But he'd been to war zones. He knew how danger smelled. And it smelled close, the eye. Next morning, Nyari woke and asked one question. Will you keep me safe? Eli nodded. Always. He didn't understand everything, but he didn't need to. This child was his, and she needed him. For the next few days, Eli tried to act normal. He taught Nyari to plant crops they fed the animals. She laughed when the birds landed on her arms and her eyes lit up when she saw the stars at night. But something strange began to happen. Wherever she stepped, small lights blinked in the ground. Metal tools sometimes floated for a moment when she touched them. Even the old drone that hadn't worked in months suddenly powered on when she got close. Nyari wasn't just a child. She was different, Eli, she said one evening, holding a broken device. Why does metal talk to me? He stared at her, stunned. What do you mean? It whispers. It says where it's hurting. Eli tested her, gave her machines to fix. She didn't just fix them. She made them better, faster, cleaner, alive. He remembered Saralyn's words from the message. She carries something inside her, something powerful. On the fifth night, everything changed. A knock at the door, 3 sharp taps. Eli froze. No one ever came this far without calling first. He grabbed his old sidearm and walked to the door. Outside stood 2 people, tall, pale, dressed in dark silver suits with glowing blue lines, not human. Their eyes were narrow, their faces emotionless. Mr. Ward, the woman said, we are travelers. Our vessel malfunctioned. May we use your comm system? Eli didn't move. You're not travelers. The man's mouth curled slightly. We didn't think you'd believe that. What do you want? A child. One that doesn't belong here. There's no child here. We scanned your home. She's here. Eli raised his weapon. Leave. The 2 looked at each other. You don't understand what she is, what she carries. She's not meant to be raised by humans. Eli stood firm. Leave now. They turned without a word and vanished. Eli locked down the house, activated every defense system he had. The pendant glowed bright in Nyari's hand. She didn't speak, but her eyes showed fear. They're not done, Eli said. They'll come back. Mama said they would, Nyari whispered. She said if they find me, they'll take what's inside me. And then, I'll be empty. His hands trembled. What do they want? Something she gave me, a piece of old code, from before the war. It can change machines, fix things, or destroy. And why give it to you? Because I'm half human. They can't read it in me. But they'll try, Eli said. Yes, she nodded. And they'll hurt anyone who protects me. That night the farm was attacked. The sky lit up with silent flashes. No noise, just motion. 3 cloaked figures broke through the trees. Eli's drone fired warning shots but was shot down. He grabbed Nyari and ran to the cellar, a deep bunker built for storms. Metal groaned above as the house shook. Lights flickered. And then, silence. Eli held Nyari close. You're not alone anymore, he said. She looked up at him, and a strange blue light shimmered in her eyes. Her voice echoed, almost layered. They won't stop. Then we won't either. Are you scared? She asked, terrified. Me too. They smiled. In the wreckage above, the pendant glowed bright. Machines hummed back to life. Something ancient had awakened, and far across the galaxy, Saralyn felt it. She was still alive, and she was coming back. The message, 3 days passed. Eli and Nyari had moved deep underground into an old mining tunnel hidden beneath the far edge of the farm. He used it years ago to store tools and spare parts, never thinking it would become a shelter. The house above was gone, burned, cracked, silent. What remained was watched from the skies by invisible drones. Satellites. Something alien. Something patient. They weren't here to rush. They were here to wait. Nyari sat beside a dim light, her knees pulled close to her chest. She was quiet, staring at the old pendant in her hand. The glow never faded. They won't stop, she whispered. Eli crouched beside her. I know. Why do they want it so badly? Eli looked at her. What do you remember? Anything your mother told? You before she sent you to me? Nyari closed her eyes. She said, if the code falls into the wrong hands, it can end worlds, it can rewrite machines, even thoughts. Can it really do that? Nyari nodded slowly. Mama said the code is like a seed. If you plant it in something broken, it can grow into something beautiful. Or something dangerous. Eli felt a cold sweat on his neck. And it's inside you? Yes. And she never told you how to remove it? No. She said only one person could help. Who? You. Eli stared. Why, me? Because she said, you once saved her with nothing to gain. That meant you could be trusted with everything. Eli turned away. His chest felt tight. He had never done anything special, just helped a stranger years ago. Now, that moment had grown into a war between stars. Later that night, a signal beeped from an old comm unit hidden in a toolbox. It had been silent for years. Now it pulsed red. Eli grabbed it, a message, encrypted. He pressed play. A static image flickered, then sharpened into Sarah Lynn's face. Older, tired, scarred, alive. Eli, she began, her voice shaking. If this message finds you, I'm running. Out of time. They found out about Nyari. I tried to stop them, but their reach is too wide. They don't care about peace or truth, they want control. You're the only one I can trust. I should have told you the truth years ago. When you saved me, I was already carrying the seed code. It was dying, until I met you. And then something happened. Life grew. Eli's heart stopped. She knew. Nyari wasn't just his by accident. Sarah Lynn had known. All these years. The code in Nyari is something older than all of us. It's from the core races, builders of the first machines. If they get it, they can enslave minds, rewrite thoughts, kill planets. But in the hands of someone with kindness, it can heal everything. The image glitched. I'm going to send one last signal, coordinates to the vault. Go there. You'll find the truth, and maybe me. The message ended. Nyari looked at Eli. She's alive, he nodded. And she needs us. Eli opened a star map. The coordinates blinked across the border, deep inside unclaimed space, near a dying star. No human had gone there in years. Pirates, storms, rumors of old machines sleeping. He looked at Nyari. Can you travel? I think so. Then we're leaving. Before they left, Eli buried the pendant in the ground and hooked it to the drone core. What are you doing? Nyari asked. If we don't come back, this place will guard your truth. The pendant pulsed once, then buried itself with sparks of light. They took an old freighter, one Eli had used for trade years ago, patched, ugly, slow, but hidden. As they lifted off, Nyari watched the sky. Do you think she's really there? I hope so, Eli said. What if it's a trap? Then we fight. Like soldiers? No, Eli said, smiling slightly. Like a father and his daughter. 2 days into the journey, their ship was hit by a signal, strange and loud. Not words. A pulse. Nyari fell to the floor, clutching her head. They're calling me, she said, eyes glowing blue. They know we're coming. Block the signal, Eli shouted. I can't. It's inside me. He held her as the signal faded. Her body trembled. They're waking up the old ones, she said. The ones who built the code. What does that mean? They won't stop with me. They'll use it to wake machines that should never wake. And what if we get there first? Then maybe we still have a chance. Outside, their ship moved toward the dying star. In the shadows beyond it, something waited, and Sarah Lynn, chained in a dark prison of glass, opened her eyes. Eli, Nyari, she whispered. Come quickly. The hunt begins. The stars outside the ship spun slowly. Like cold eyes watching them move through the void, Eli sat in the pilot seat, hands tight on the controls. Sweat dripped down his back, though the ship was cold. Behind him, Nyari sat with her knees tucked to her chest, eyes closed, breathing slow. She hadn't spoken much since the signal hit her mind 2 days ago, but something in her had changed. "We're almost there," Eli said, more to himself than to her. They were approaching the dark zone near the dying star, a place that hadn't seen traffic in over 10 years. No one lived near it, no planets. Just floating rock, failed satellites, and the whispers of old wars. As the star glowed weak orange in the distance, the ship's systems blinked, alert, unidentified vessels approaching. "No," Eli muttered, slamming his hand on the console. "How many?" Nyari asked quietly. "3," Eli said. "Small ships. Fast. Not human." They had been followed. Eli pushed the ship into a dive, dipping behind an asteroid field. Rocks the size of buildings passed inches from the hull. The old freighter groaned, metal creaking under the sudden force. A red blast cut through space. Behind them, then another. Nyari gripped the seat. Her eyes started glowing again, soft blue. "They're not just tracking us," she said. "They're listening to me, my thoughts." Eli swerved hard. "Can you stop them?" "I don't know how," she said, trembling. "But I feel something waking up inside." The lead enemy ship appeared on their left. Sleek, black, silent. No markings. It fired again. Eli spun under the beam and darted behind a cratered moon. "We can't outrun them," he said. "Not for long. We don't need to outrun them," Nyari said. "We need to show them we're not afraid." "How do we do that?" Nyari reached into the console. The lights flickered around her hand. Metal shimmered under her fingers. "Like this," she whispered. Suddenly the ship surged forward faster than its design ever allowed. The engines pulsed with strange light. Eli stared. "What did you do?" "I asked it to help." With a roar, the freighter flew like a missile toward the vault coordinates. The enemy ships followed, but they couldn't match the sudden speed. They fell behind. But one didn't. A massive battleship, black and curved like a snake, slid into their path. Its front opened, revealing a huge energy cannon. Nyari stood up, eyes now glowing fully blue. The lights in the cockpit bent slightly toward her. Her voice was layered, strange. "Stop chasing us," the cannon charged. I said, "Stop." The pendant at her neck glowed white-hot. The enemy ship froze in place, then, without a sound, imploded. Eli stared in shock. The wreck floated silently, pieces spinning into the void. Nyari sat down again, shaking. Her glow faded. "I didn't mean to do that," she whispered. Eli didn't answer. He wasn't sure what to say. An hour later, they reached the vault's location, a floating ancient station built into the remains of a hollow asteroid. It was dead. No power, no lights. Until Nyari stepped closer. The walls lit up. Symbols rose on the door. Old alien code that Eli couldn't read. Nyari placed her hand on it. The door slid open with a deep sigh. They stepped inside. Inside, the walls glowed with pale light. Broken machines rested in rows. Some looked like suits of armor. Some looked like coffins. Others were still pulsing, softly, like they were asleep. At the center of the vault stood a giant crystal, clear, tall, humming, and inside it was Saralyn, frozen, eyes closed, heart still. "Mama," Nyari whispered, running to the crystal. Eli reached out. His fingers brushed the crystal's surface. Warm, pulsing. "Can we wake her?" he asked. Nyari nodded slowly. "I think if I give her some of the code." "Will that hurt you?" "I don't know." "Then no," Eli said. "We find another way." But Nyari stepped forward. "She gave everything for me. Now it's my turn." She touched the crystal. A bright blue light burst through the vault. Machines stirred, walls shifted, and Saralyn's eyes opened. "Eli," she said weakly. He ran, forward, catching her as the crystal split open. "You're alive," he said. "Barely," she whispered. "They trapped me here, used the code to power their machines. I resisted as long as I could. They're coming," Eli said. Saralyn looked at Nyari. "Then we stand together." "As a family," Nyari said. Outside, dozens of ships moved. Through the stars, the final hunt had begun. But now, they were ready, and the galaxy was about to witness something it hadn't seen in centuries. A human, an alien mother, and their daughter, holding the power to change everything. The return of Sarah Lynn inside the vault. The machines had gone silent again, but everything had changed. Sarah Lynn stood between Eli and Nyari, weak but alive. Her silver skin was pale. Her eyes, once bright, now held the weight of secrets too heavy to carry alone. Eli couldn't stop staring. For years he thought she had vanished. Now she was back, flesh and blood, standing in front of him. "How long were you in there?" he asked. 4 years, she said softly. "Maybe more. Why didn't you run when they came for you? Because if I ran, they'd find Nyari. And if they got her, the code would belong to them forever." She sat down slowly, knees trembling. Nyari curled beside her, resting her head against her mother's arm. "You kept her safe," Sarah Lynn said, eyes meeting Eli's. "Just like I hoped." "You should have told me she was mine," he said, voice low. Sarah Lynn nodded. "I wanted to, but if they knew who you were, they would have used you to find us, to control her." Eli didn't argue. Deep inside, he knew she had done what she believed was right, but the truth still hurt. "Tell me everything," he said. Sarah Lynn took a breath, then spoke. "Before I met you, I was part of something called the Core Rebellion, a group of alien scientists, outcasts, and visionaries who believed in restoring the first code." "What's that?" Eli asked. "It's not a weapon. It's not a virus. It's the language that built life, before machines, before species like mine or yours existed. It was made by the builders, a race long gone. And the code's inside Nyari? Yes, because I bonded with it. And then after what happened with you..." She paused, eyes full of memory. Something rare happened. The code passed into her. She was born with it inside. So she's... what? A key? She's more than that. She's proof that two worlds can create something new, something better, and that scares the ones in power. She stood slowly and walked to the crystal she had been trapped in. Symbols were glowing faintly on its surface. "This vault, it's not a prison, it's a cradle," she said. "For machines built by the builders, machines that sleep until they're called." "Called by what?" Eli asked. "By the code. By her." Suddenly alarms blared. Intruder signal detected. A fleet of dark ships had entered the system. Over 30. War class. Surrounding the vault. Eli's heart sank. "They found us." Sarah Lynn narrowed her eyes. "Then this is the moment they've waited for." "Can we fight them?" Eli asked. "Not with weapons," she said. "With truth." The ground rumbled. The vault's walls opened slowly, revealing rows of dormant machines, massive metal guardians, shaped like beasts and giants, motionless and ancient. "They'll respond to her," Sarah Lynn said, looking at Nyari. Nyari stepped forward, hands shaking. I'm scared." Eli knelt beside her. "You don't have to be perfect. Just be you. That's enough." She took a deep breath, then reached out. The machines lit up, one by one. Blue lines ran through their bodies. Lights blinked. Gears shifted. And then they moved. The ancient army of the builders had awakened. Above them, the enemy commander stared at the vault from his bridge. He was tall, insect-like, his skin like cracked stone. He wore a crown of circuits. "Activate the suppressor," he said coldly. In orbit, a huge satellite powered on, aimed at the vault. It sent a pulse down to the planet. Nyari screamed and fell to her knees. "They're trying to rip it from me," she cried. Eli ran to her. "How do we stop it?" "We can't," Sarah Lynn said, eyes wide. "They're extracting the code." The machines staggered, lights dimmed. The vault shook. But then something changed. Nyari's pendant, silent for so long, rose into the air. A second voice joined her scream. a sound so old it shook the ground. The pendant cracked, then exploded in light. A figure stepped out. Not human, not alien. Builder. A being made of light and machine, tall and timeless. The code was not meant for power, it said, but for healing, for unity. And now, it chooses. The suppressor in orbit melted into dust. The enemy fleet lost control. Ships, spiraling, weapons failing. Nyari stood no longer afraid. You tried to take me, she said, voice echoing, but you never understood me. She raised her hand. The builder machines rose behind her like an army of giants. The enemy fleet broke. Formation. Some fled. The rest were erased. Not by weapons. By peace. Back on the planet, silence returned. Eli dropped to his knees, exhausted. Saralyn hugged Nyari tightly. It's over, she said, but Nyari looked up at the stars. No, she whispered. It's just beginning. The last stand. The stars were calm again. But the silence wasn't peace. It was the breath before something bigger. Above the vault, half the enemy fleet had been wiped out. The others scattered but not far. They were regrouping, hiding, watching. Deep. In their darkest ships, commanders argued. How did a child destroy a war fleet? How did a human and an alien summon a builder? What else were they hiding? Their leaders didn't want peace. They wanted control, and they weren't done. Back and near the vault, the ancient builder stood still, its body pulsing like a quiet heart. It turned to Nyari. The code has awakened fully in you, it said. You are now its vessel. But that makes you the target of every empire, every tyrant, every species that wants power without truth. Then take it out of me, Nyari whispered. Give it to someone stronger. You are already strong, the builder replied. Because you feel. Because you choose love over fear. Eli placed his hand on her shoulder. We won't let them take you. The builder nodded. Then you must all face the final trial together. A warning flashed across the vault's walls. Super weapon detected. Planetary impact in 16 hours. Saralyn's eyes went wide. They're going to destroy the vault, the planet, everything. Why would they do that? Eli asked. Because they'd rather see the code erased than let it live free. Saralyn looked at Nyari. We have to get you off this planet. No, Nyari said, voice calm. I don't want to run anymore. Nyari, you ran. Dad hid. I'm done running. We fight. Eli stood tall beside her. We make our stand here. Together, they activated the vault's final protocol. Massive doors opened underground, revealing a hidden builder core engine, the last working ship from the first code era. Shaped like a spiral, glowing with deep blue lines. Alive. This ship can reach their command center, the builder explained. You can stop the attack before it begins. How? Saralyn asked. By releasing the true code. Nyari looked down. What does that mean? You will send a message, the builder said. Not words, but memory, emotion, unity. Will they understand it? No. But they will feel it. The ship lifted into the sky. Eli piloted. Saralyn sat at weapons. Nyari stood at the center, linked to the code. As they crossed into enemy space, thousands of ships rose to meet them. They're ready to die to stop us, Eli said. Then let's show them we're ready to live, Saralyn replied. Missiles flew. The builder ship dodged and spun, shields glowing, ancient tech shifting between form and function. But they were outnumbered. Every defense broke. We're not going to make it, Eli said. Nyari stepped to the heart of the ship. Then I'll show them why they should have let us live. She reached out, her fingers glowing, and the ship became light. Suddenly, time slowed. A pulse spread across the enemy fleet. Not a weapon, a vision. Every enemy pilot saw memories that weren't their own. A starving alien mother holding her baby in the cold. A human handing bread to a child not his own. A man saving a stranger in the desert. A little girl asking, "Will you keep me safe?" They felt Saralin's sacrifice, Eli's courage, Nayari's pain. They felt humanity. Weapons fell silent. Ships powered down. The command center went dark. And in that moment, across thousands of ships, war ended, not from force, but from understanding. The builder's ship returned to orbit, damaged but alive. The galaxy changed that day, not because of a battle won, but because of a story shared. Weeks later, a new alliance was born, one of humans, aliens, and builders alike. No flags, no weapons, just truth. Saralyn now sat at the Council of Peace, her voice heard by stars. Eli returned to farming, his fields open to all. Sometimes he still fixed old machines. He smiled more. And Yari? She became a symbol, a legend, not because of power, but because she chose love in the face of fear. And far across the stars, a monument stood to the man who showed kindness and changed the galaxy.